Before we get started with today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the OneFootball app, because the OneFootball app is the app that I will be using throughout the World Cup to make sure I am staying up to date with all of the latest news, whether that be manager press conferences, early team news, player statistics, the group standings, anything. The OneFootball app is the place to be for all of your news at this World Cup. And then of course after the World Cup we will be back with club football, where OneFootball really has you covered, with match highlights of things like the DFB Pokal, La Liga and Liga Portugal, as well as full coverage of the Serie A, which includes a game that you can watch live for free every week. That is all to come after the World Cup. During the World Cup there is loads of content on the OneFootball app, so make sure to check out the link in the description down below and download the OneFootball app today. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where we are finally here with the World Cup content. Now it might be a few days later than I had initially said and planned, but we're finally here. We've got loads of content coming up over the next month, but I do just want to say, as I said the other day, if you are someone that is kind of boycotting this World Cup because of the political side of everything, the politics behind it all, I completely understand that. In terms of, for me, on the channel, we are just going to be talking about football. So if you are still interested in the football side of things, this is the place to be. And to make sure you don't miss a video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We recently hit 10k, which you guys are absolute legends for. Subscribe if you want more, hit the notification button so you get notified every time I upload a video. I'm going to look to do a video every single day of the World Cup. Some of that will be videos like this, where today I'm going to talk about England's tactics, I'm going to talk about Brazil's tactics, probably Argentina's, Germany's. Let me know what other teams you want to see. But today we are talking about Gareth Southgate, his tactics, his setup, some of the good things about this England squad, some of the bad things, some of the issues they may face. Maybe we'll finish with how I think they will do, although I might save that for a separate predictions video. But in terms of England, how they will set up under Gareth Southgate, I think we are all kind of at the point now where we just assume it's going to be the 3-4-3. There is this huge demand for a back four, either a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. I am one of the people asking for that shape. I just don't think it's going to happen. With the form that England have been in, with the lack of time to prepare before the World Cup, Southgate met up with the squad yesterday, they flew out today, so very, very limited training time. The lack of form, the lack of players fit in certain positions, I do just think England will go with this back three. And this is actually my prediction for what I think the lineup will be in the first game of the tournament. Jordan Pickford in goal. He is the number one, nothing has changed there. Never let England down, always been really good in tournaments. I know we get some criticism for his height and different things. I think he's always been really good for England, and I think he's important to the way that England play. The back three, Harry Maguire, Eric Dyer and John Stones. Not the greatest back three in the world, and I think what ideally Southgate would like to do is after one game, take Dyer out, put Stones in the middle and bring Kyle Walker in. That's purely going to be dependent on a fitness issue. In terms of the first game, I think it will be this. Hopefully, Stones can then move to the middle, Kyle Walker can come in, and England look a bit better already there. Then we've got this four across the midfield, Shaw and Trippier as the wing-backs. Now, again, people aren't going to be over the moon with that, because it does mean 5 defenders on the pitch. However, whether that's a positive or a negative thing really depends how Southgate approaches these matches. If he is happy to push the wing-backs really high up the pitch, then it doesn't matter that they are supposed defenders playing in these positions, because we know that both Shaw and Trippier have really good delivery into the box. The issue is, if Southgate doesn't push them forward, has them too deep, then England have a lack of attacking numbers. In terms of the midfield, Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, that has to be the midfield duo that Southgate goes with. There's talks of Jordan Henderson, Calvin Phillips of course has a shout as well. It has to be these two. With this midfield duo, I think England have one of the best midfields in the tournament, genuinely, as a duo. People might disagree. I'm going to put it out there, I think that is one of the best midfield duos in the tournament. Harry Kane up front, of course, one of, if not the best striker at the tournament. Raheem Sterling, Bukayo Saka just off of him. Now, in terms of those two positions just off of Harry Kane, I think Southgate has a lot to choose from. Jack Grealish can come into the team. Mason Mount is a favourite of Southgate, he could play either side. Foden could play either side. Rashford could certainly play this left inside forward role, which I would quite like to see. And James Maddison could do a job on the right hand side as well. But I think this is how the lineup will go. Now it's time to look at tactically what England might actually do during the group. So what I think we will see a lot of in this group, and actually something that I think we'll see of a lot in all of the groups to be fair, is the lesser sides sitting off quite deep. I don't think teams are going to be going with a high press. The fact that the tournament is halfway through the season, the fact that the managers haven't had much time to work with the squads, and also the ridiculous temperatures that these players are going to be playing in, I think we're going to see a lot of teams that sit off either in a mid or low block. In this group, I think it's going to be the low block more often than not. I think that is going to be England's task. which means they will be able to progress the ball out from the back. That should not be an issue. England should be able to get the ball in these areas and play forward. In terms of if we're talking about the knockouts against big teams, slightly different. But in terms of focusing on the group, taking things one thing at a time, England should have time on the ball to move the ball forward. So the question is going to be, can they break down these stubborn defences? Whether that's Iran, Wales or USA, do England have what it takes? And complete honesty, I'm genuinely not sure. Because I think this has always been the biggest criticism of Gareth Southgate, is that he's just a little too reserved. The players don't have fluidity in the way that they move, they don't progress the ball forward well, and there's not a lot of chance creativity. But there is potential there, because look at these players, there's some really good players here. If Luke Shaw and Trippier are both given the licence to get forward, that is an excellent starting point for England. I say this all the time on the channel, when you are playing against a deep, stubborn defence, you have to spread the pitch as big as possible. You have to have width. If you don't have width, you are not going to break down a stubborn defence. It is so difficult to do. England need to make the pitch as big as possible. Pushing the wing-backs high and wide is going to be absolutely key to doing that. What else is going to be key to breaking teams down is this back 3 and 2, this 3-2 shape at the base of the team. The foundation of the team, basically. We know that Maguire at left centre-back is a very good ball progressor, and I think Kyle Walker can do something similar from the other side. Declan Rice will probably be England's kind of safe pivot point in the midfield. He'll kind of cycle the ball about, occasionally flick long passes out to the wing-backs. I don't think he is going to be too vital in possession. I think his more important work is perhaps off the ball. The player I think really could be key is Jude Bellingham. Now, he's only young. This is his first tournament where he's really going to be a starter and get a good amount of time. He better get a good amount of time. But Jude Bellingham could be the key for England. For me, he is that bit of stardust that is just top quality. Even at such a young age, it's one of the best talents for me that England have ever produced. Genuinely, I think the ceiling and the potential for this guy is incredible. Hopefully this is the tournament that he can show it. And what England are going to need is his drive in the midfield and his bravery on the ball. That word there, actually, bravery, is probably something that people question with England quite a lot. Are players brave? Is the manager brave? Jude Bellingham is. Jude Bellingham will take, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Responsibility, that's the one. Jude Bellingham will take responsibility to progress the ball forward himself. He is not afraid to get the ball in these sorts of areas and try and carry the ball forward and drive his way through. The athleticism on this guy is not a joke. He could be the key to getting England moving the ball forward, adding some drive to midfield, and also arriving late in the box. I think the other interesting tactical thing is what is Harry Kane going to do? Now, what you'll find with all these preview videos that I do is that we can't talk as in-depth tactically about international teams as what we can club teams. Because, as I keep saying, managers just have far less time and there's far less preparation time going into this World Cup. So it's a few tactical pointers that we're looking at. Harry Kane's positioning will be interesting because what we saw at the last Euros when, to be fair, England done well, was that Kane was dropping too deep at times. And it left England without a focal point up top. And actually, during the group stage, Harry Kane had barely any chances at all. He really didn't get into the tournament until the knockouts. And even then, it wasn't exactly like he was getting a lot of chances created for him. Personally, I think he needs to play a little bit higher. If he doesn't, the personnel around him are very, very important. And that's why I think Southgate will go with Raheem Sterling. Now, Sterling's form for Chelsea has not been great this season, but Sterling for England has been very impressive over the past 4 or 5 years now. And his movement off the ball is usually very good. He is someone that will occasionally go past, away from the ball, run in behind. That's what England are going to need. Movement off the ball. So if Harry Kane is dropping deep, dragging someone out of position, someone can exploit that, especially again with the wing-backs pinning people back. Another player that could do a similar sort of job is Marcus Rashford. And I actually think Marcus Rashford might be able to do it better than anyone in this England squad, because we know that he loves kind of playing as an inside left forward, not a winger, an inside forward. Obviously, as I was saying earlier, there are plenty of other options as well. Jack Grealish brings something different with his ability to take the ball in tight spaces and win a foul. Bukayo Saka certainly offers something off the right-hand side, one of England's most informed players. Foden has that eye for a pass, Mason Mount has that energy in the midfield, and James Maddison has a level of creativity which I don't think any other England forward has. What Southgate goes for, what kind of combination in this front three, I'm not too sure. I think in terms of if we are predicting how the group is going to play out, I think we are going to see 3 games where England are dominant. England will have the ball. England will get the ball through those first 2/3 of the pitch reasonably easily. The question is then the speed, the tempo at which they play. Now, at times they have to be patient. They have to recycle possession. They don't want to be forcing balls into inefficient areas. That's not the way to break a team down. But what they don't want to do is become so patient that they become laboured and slow, because that is something that happens under Southgate sometimes. I think Harry Maguire could help with that, his ability to get the ball through the lines. I know people will criticise Maguire for certain things. He is good at getting the ball moving forward, so that could be important. I also think Luke Shaw and Trippier are huge. Especially if you get Harry Kane and convince him to stay in the box. I think the delivery of these two could be really good. Luke Shaw's delivery hasn't always been at the top level, but over the past 18 months, his delivery has been brilliant, and especially the last couple of months, putting some really good balls into the box. And as for Trippier, I think we all know the form he's in. Probably the best fullback in the Premier League so far this season. England have got to take advantage of that. So I think that's how it's going to go, how the group is going to go for England. They will control. They will dominate possession, they will have a lot of the ball. The question is, can they be patient in the right moments, intense in the right moments, speed it up, slow it down, manoeuvre players out of position? Are they going to be able to do that? We don't really have the questions right now, but this is what the approach will be. It will be this sort of shape. It will be a 3-2-5 in possession. Will England be able to break them down? If England aren't able to break teams down, then they might rely a little bit on what they relied on back in the World Cup at 2018, when they of course got to the semi-final, and that was set pieces, where they set a record scoring from 9 set pieces during the tournament. Now, I think to expect 9 set pieces again is a little unrealistic, but I think set pieces are going to be huge this year. I really, really do. That is something that England could use, and again, Trippier could be important for that. It's another reason why that double pivot of Rice and Bellingham could be important as well. They are big players, they are targets in the box, and also the benefit of a back three. For example, if you have John Stones, Eric Dyer and Harry Maguire in the box, along with those midfielders, along with Harry Kane, there is a lot of aerial threat there. So with the delivery of Luke Shaw and Trippier, set pieces could be a good thing, and we've seen it before. For example, Harry Maguire is literally England's 4th top goal scorer since Gareth Southgate took charge. Now, a couple of ways of looking at that. We can look at that and go, England have been good at set pieces, Harry Maguire has been good, but I think as we look through those other numbers in terms of players in this active squad, just a little concern about where the goals are going to come from. Harry Kane, of course, is the main man, but if Sterling isn't quite on it, where else do the goals come from? Players like Mason Mount, players like Phil Foden, they have to chip in a lot more than what they are. Jack Grealish as well. Bukayo Saka. England need goals from those guys. They need that club form, the creativity and the goals. Will it come? Like I said, we just don't know. In terms of going forward, England are going to have a lot of the ball. It's going to be, can they be patient? But also, can they defend the counter-attack? Now, if we look at the England defenders, none of them really are in the form of their lives. Now, Kieran Trippier, yes, brilliant at the moment and getting a lot of minutes for Newcastle. Same for Ben White, but they are both playing right back in a back four for their club. And not a position that England are going to be using. In terms of the rest of the defence, there's a lack of minutes. Now, Eric Dyer's got himself in a good position, but if we look at the likes of Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kyle Walker and Harry Maguire, 4 players who I think would be part of England's best back 5. It's a little bit concerning. Because the defence will be tested. Yes, I am sitting here saying England will be able to dominate the ball high up, but what that means is that teams are going to sit and counter-attack. Whether it's Wales, Iran, USA, these teams are going to look and counter-attack. And actually, if you look at the squads that these teams are taking, there's some quality players here. Now, apologies that a couple of those names have been cut off there, Jahanbakhsh and Aronson. There's forwards here that can cause problems. In Taremi, he is a striker that will play on the left wing. And actually, quite interestingly, probably all these teams are going to look to counter with a front 3. Now, in terms of Iran, they're not going to commit a lot of men forward because they will sit deep. So even on the counter-attack, they're not going to chuck loads forward. But someone like Taremi, Azmoun and Jahanbakhsh getting up against England's back 3, especially if it's Dyer, Stones and Maguire, that could be an interesting matchup. Against USA, Pulisic, Ferreira and Aronson, again very direct but also very nimble. More so than those Iran forwards. There's real quality in that USA front 3. And then of course with Wales, we all know about this front 3. These are players that have played in the Premier League before. Gareth Bale, of course, we all know Gareth Bale. He always seems to perform for Wales at international tournaments. There's some good front 3s here that could cause England some problems. However, I think England are going to be okay. In terms of tactically, I think England are going to dominate. It's just going to be, can they create those chances? Or are they going to rely on set pieces? Can they score the goals? Realistically, England should be fine for the group stage. You would expect them to get through. And I think they have a very good shot. England do have the potential to go all the way. The question is just going to be, can they score the goals? Defensively, I do think they will be okay because Southgate is quite cautious. If need be, he will put that extra number in the defence to shore it up a bit. England probably aren't going to leak goals. That's not my concern. The question is, can they score the goals going forward? And that's a question I've got for you guys. So let me know in the comments down below what you think. Do you think that is England's Achilles heel, scoring goals, or do you think it's something else? And how well do you think England can do at this tournament? Let me know what you think. Personally, I think England is set up quite nicely. Hopefully this has given you a bit of an idea of what to look out for in the group stages and how I think the group stage will go. And that's all I've got to say for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.